Okay, I've got a question.
Yes.
I was listening to someone describe this, or I was thinking about it, or I
Is this a
woke up with it.
bubble
I don't know.
question?
It's going
Okay.
to be a bubble question when I get there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I just forget why this is in my head, but okay. So we have the human, we have the soul, we have the higher self. Sometimes Katie and I think of higher self as like multiple or whatever, but whatever. That's too complicated for this question. This question is, what is the difference between the soul and the higher self?
Oh my God, that's a really good question. Oh, wait, my human wants to think about that for a second. The soul and the higher self. No, I don't want any answers. I know I was just there. I want to think about it for a minute. The soul and the higher self. Okay, I can't wait to see what they say because me, Candy, is like, fuck. Okay. All right. Bubble, bubble, bubble. What is the difference between the soul and the higher self? It's like they're conferring. The very first thing I saw was I saw when you hold your hand out and you put like you're trying to show it was like an inch or 2 inches, like you're showing that measurement. And like I just saw the flash and it was the finger and thumb are really close together. So it's like there's barely a difference, but there is a slight difference. What is the difference? Well, we need to look up a definition. I wonder if somebody's written about this at all. But what they're conveying is what it feels like the primary difference is that the soul and the human vessel are walking this earthly journey together, almost as if the human is like if we were playing Mario Kart, the human is Mario in the car. And on some level, the soul is trying to help direct the video game, but the human is still also in control. So, but it's like the soul's sort of right there. Well, no, the soul would have put you in the video game. So the soul picked Mario Kart. Oh, here we go. The soul said, you human, we're going to have the experience of living in Mario Kart land. The soul decides that. The higher self is like, okay, I guess that we're living in Mario Kart land this lifetime. Now, how can I best advise the human based on our lifetimes together, based on the fact that we are bound in consciousness together? I, higher self, have the wisdom that I can share with the human if the human is willing to listen. I also have access to the other realms and the quilt of consciousness as we've described it before. Soul is like, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's do this. I can't wait. And soul kind of has like the checklist of like, I want to experience running into the wall. I want to experience like driving Luigi off the road. I want to experience winning the race. Like all within the analogy of Mario Kart land. It's like it's a tandem. Like all three of us, the entities, soul, higher self, human, are all working together in this experience.
So, would the soul have scars like from previous lifetimes that the higher self doesn't have?
They're kind of stuck processing the word scars. They like the word scars. They're just like, look, they're like considering how others will hear the word scars. Yes and no. It's like the soul collects lessons and experiences and opportunities They don't like the word scar because
It's negative.
it's negative because there's a story attached and there was pain that resulted, and that's why we have a scar. And they're like, the soul doesn't necessarily feel pain, it just has the experience.
You know how like when we used to do Reiki and you would like we'd be practicing on each other with our teacher or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, there's like a physical, like there's pain in your left shoulder, but it's from a past life.
Uh-huh.
So like it
Oh,
was my
that's
and it was my I thought that the soul carries some of that pain between lifetimes. So it gets reproduced in the body again. But the higher self wouldn't really be involved in that.
no, the higher self definitely isn't involved in that. That's this is I like this because I remember having these thoughts, conclusions, assumptions as well. So I think they're just going to be like a little nitpicky, not nitpicky. It's a distinction, but they're like think of it more as an imprint
Mm-hmm.
rather than a scar, because you're right. The scar carries a negative connotation, and the soul doesn't. It doesn't think of it one way or another as negative. The soul doesn't have that. The human had that. So if it still is imprinted there, it is tied to the human. Um, like I'm trying not to use the word scar. It's like it's almost like if you think about like a computer program, it was like written into the imprint, the programming of I was stabbed in the left shoulder with a knife. The human said it hurt. So it's like it sits there in the programming. And the notion of the pain is important to get our attention to heal something about that experience. Like without the notion of pain, like like the human would never look at it if it wasn't painful.
Mm-hmm. So then the higher self is connected to the quilt or the collective consciousness, but it is differentiated from that because it's like particular to this soul. You know what I mean?
That's a good question too. Does our higher self, do the higher selves that we experience in this lifetime travel with us through all lifetimes, or are they unique to this lifetime? Like it's a little bit of both. They want you to think of the higher self. Oh my God, now my brain really wants to look all this up and see if anyone has an answer. How would you have an answer? Think of the higher self as like such an elevated version of ourselves, right? Higher self. But it's like they have this vantage point that we hope to grow into and that we hope to experience. And it is tied to this lifetime. Like they're not bringing in past lifetime hopes and dreams. It is very much tied to this experience. All right, what they're showing me is like, it's not an upside down cone. It's like a sideways cone, right? So the end of the cone, the pointy part, think about an ice cream cone. The pointy part would be the soul. From the soul, everything emanates out. As you look at the upward angle, the up trajectory of the cone or the triangle, that is a higher self. If you look at the more like down or earthly facing trajectory of the cone, that is a human. So these things work in tandem together. The higher self is like an expression of the human. The higher self is an expression of the soul, just like the human is, but neither the higher self nor the human carry the experience of the previous lifetimes.
But the soul does.
The soul does. The soul carries it all.
Oh my God. I did not. Okay, that's really
The
interesting.
human is in this earthly plane having the experiences that the soul is asking to have. The higher self is the like highest expression of this human. So it has access to connect to all this knowledge and to bring it down to help that human be the highest expression of itself, which is why we're always talking about how important it is to listen to your whisper, because the higher self has access to that information that it shares with us. We just a lot of times can't hear it. The body has wisdom because it carries the goal through the soul of what it's here to experience and how that's manifesting in the human. So the body's also whispering to us to tell us like, oh, this hurts. Oh, this is joyful. Oh, I want more of this. Oh, I don't want more of that. Oh, this situation feels good. This situation doesn't. But it's all on some level directed by the soul's intention.
Oh my God, this makes so much sense because now that I'm thinking about, I'm like flashing through all this language that we use, which is like with the cards and astrology and everything, we're like the soul chose your birthday. The soul chose your star map.
Oh, right. I'm so
We
glad
don't
it
say the
makes sense
high.
to you. I'm so lost in it right now.
We like it's not how I thought it was when you first started, but like the higher self isn't choosing and like now I want you to filter all what I'm saying through the bubble
Okay.
and be like
Okay.
I'm on a
Let me
quiz
go.
show
Let
and
me
you
go
have to
back
tell me
there.
if I'm wrong
All
or
right.
not. Okay.
Okay.
It's the soul that chooses the birthday.
Ding, ding.
Okay. It's the soul that quote unquote has an opinion about the lessons, the experiences.
Ding, ding.
It's the higher self that has the neutral perspective.
Ding, ding.
It's the higher self that has access to the collective consciousness.
Yes. Ding, ding. Realize
It's
the
the
ding dings are getting
soul
annoying
that's
because they're annoying me. Like, fucking stop with the
listening.
ding dings.
I was just really happy I was winning all the prizes.
Yes. Keep going.
Okay. Fuck. It's the soul that's trying to get back to source to become one.
Ding, ding.
The higher self is already part of the quilt. Like it's like I feel like it's like this as if I see it as like a cloud. The higher self, I see this little head pop down, like, hey guys, what's going on? And then like going back up into the cloud and be like, come back down. Yeah, okay, this is making sense.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a clarification. You said the soul is working to get back to source. This is true, but when the realization, the connection between the three, the Trinity,
Ah, come on.
oh, come on, guys, exists, then the Trinity is trying to get back to source. Like
All
they
three.
all feel the pull. Yeah, the soul, absolutely. But it's like this. One of the goals of the soul is to always to try in every lifetime to get the human to be like, oh my God, I get it. I get the feeling of source, the desire to get back there. That's like, that right there is one level of winning.
Right, to almost like overcome the separateness, which is which is what when I don't know what book this is in, but when I was being evangelized at the sauna, I was trying to explain like the separation isn't the fall is the separation. The fall in the Bible, the fall from
Yes.
which I thought it was Lucifer. The guy's like Adam and Eve is like, I mean, what are you talking about? I thought you knew the Bible. Anyway, but it's like the fall of Lucifer is the thinking that we are separate.
Yes.
It's not evil. It's separation.
Yes. Yes. And they're like, are you ready? Are we ready to go here? Because they're like, absolutely, yes, you are correct. The book, the Bible, any religious text is written to tell the stories to convey all of this. And it uses analogies and stories, no different than when we use a sports reference or a lifting weight reference to get meaning across. It like the only way sometimes to express meaning around something that you have no idea how to understand is to use an analogy of something in your present day world to explain it, which is what the Bible did over and over again. Use analogies from the present day, the present time that it was written in, to express meaning of something that was unseen and not understood. So to read a book like that in this present time and understand it becomes quite difficult because the times aren't the same. We live very differently. So the references don't always even make sense. So they're like, it's so complicated. But to go back, like the fall is the fall from source, the fall from oneness, the fall from
And
empathy.
fall is even a bad word. Like it's a bad, because it sounds
Yeah,
bad.
it's separate. It's separation from.
Yeah.
But they're like, the separation is important because it's through that separation then that we're able to have individuated experiences which feed back into the collective and source. So they're like, source is also an ever evolving thing. Source didn't know what murder was until source experienced murder. Mm-hmm. Somebody had to carry that out. Somebody had to do it. Then somebody had to rejoin source or be connected enough to source for source to have that experience.
And and that's what, oh God, I did just read this somewhere which I had never considered before, which is the consciousness is evolving. Like the source of consciousness is also evolving by the experiences. And
yes.
It's infinite. Like
right.
This is the issue. It's infinite. So every type of experience, it's like we can't even wrap our minds around how infinite it is. And like the earth itself with the humans that are on here now, and it's so young and new and such a small part of the infinite.
Yeah, I think maybe Lee Harris referenced that the earth was evolving.
Okay, maybe that's where I heard it. Yeah.
And I don't remember if he tied it back to source or if it's just sort of one of those things that gets transmitted when you hear it, that you're like, oh, right, like everything is always evolving. I mean, it makes sense. This fucking solar system is always evolving. How could we and the earth and source not also be evolving? If one part of it's emotion, it's all emotion.
Right.
Right? I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I play one on TV. Oh my God, Laura, that was such a good question.
I realize now that I did read it, and someone had sent a blog out from a podcast that I've listened to and that we've both been on before. I can't remember her name, but and she was writing about it, and I was like, I wonder if this is right. And then, not that we'd ever really know for sure if it's right, but pretty good.
Feels okay.
Yeah, it feels like with the way people use the terms. I don't know. It's like with the cards when I teach that cardology, intro to cardology class, and I'm like, think about all of the places in our language where we talk about how our cards were played and the cards we have to play and the cards we were dealt and all of that. And that's like evidence of the card system. So that's like the way people talk about the soul and the way the higher self is talked about is evidence of like how they are.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
I can't wait for you to go back and listen to this since you're like,
I can't either. I can't either. That is the benefit of doing the editing. I get to re-listen to and be like, okay, cool. Yeah, when you first asked it, and Candy, was trying to like figure out my own answer for it. This is what it felt. It felt like such a big question that I couldn't even wrap my brain around how to begin to search for the answer. And I could feel myself like trying to push in it, but it was like trying to push into a wind tunnel. Like I wasn't going anywhere. But yet then going into the bubble, into that like theta space, the answers are there. And they just like pop in.
Right. Which is what our whisper training course will be all about.
Exactly.
That we're working on diligently right now.
We want to teach you guys how to do this because this is amazing. Having access to that level of perspective and vantage point, there's just so much comfort in it. Mm-hmm. Like the whole conversation about boundaries. I'm not so pissed off about boundaries anymore. I'm like, cool. Right. All right. I can't wait to re-listen to this again so that I can be like, all right, yeah, I got it. I got the point of the boundaries now. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. I don't have to bring my triggering to the word boundary.
I just saw like a little thing fly across your screen. Like maybe
like a little fairy.
Yeah, something. That's awesome. That wraps this episode of One Card Shy. Did you love it? Leave us a review, share it with your friends, and sign up for our monthly crown straightener. Bonus, you'll get our free Claim Your Crown guide when you subscribe.
And be sure to find us on Instagram and check out our website. Both are rainworld.co. All the links are below. See you next time, Queens.